All right, fam. So here's the deal. The 2024 presidential election is finally coming to a close, and I am thrilled. This is serious stuff. This is not about a popularity contest, although a lot of people think that, because winning the most votes nationwide across America doesn't actually mean you win the presidency. So what really counts here when we're talking elections? Getting 270 electoral votes. That's what matters the most. And here's the twist. If you want to know who's winning on election night, keep an eye on these 5, and I would say maybe 6 key states. That's Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Arizona, where I live, could also be important because polls are super close. And why these particular states? Well, because they have enough electoral votes to make the difference here. So here's the breakdown on this. Kamala Harris is ahead in the states that add up to 226 votes. Donald Trump has 219 votes, leaning his way. That's why people who live in California say, well, my vote really doesn't matter because my Electoral College will vote Democrat almost all the time. So we know that it's the states that are these swing states or these battleground states that are the most important. So the thing is, if you add up all the votes from these close call states, including my state of Arizona, you get the 270 votes needed to win the election. So let's talk about battlegrounds. So the Midwest, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, they make up the blue wall. That is what they call it, right? States that Joe Biden won back from Trump in 2020. And Kamala Harris just needs to win these 3 to hit 270 votes. Can you imagine? Then you have the South. You have North Carolina, who just suffered a horrible, horrible hurricane, Georgia, and those have 16 votes. North Carolina is looking tight because Trump is barely ahead there. Georgia could swing either way too. If Harris wins one of these southern states, it can make up for a loss elsewhere. So now we go to the West, where I am. Arizona has 11 votes and is leaning towards Trump. Nevada is in play too, but only has 6 votes. So it's less likely to be like a deciding factor here. The bottom line is this election could probably come down to these key states. The point is, on election night, you guys are going to find out who won the election. I do want to point out something. I talked to a friend of mine who's a poll worker this year, and I asked her, how easy is it for people to cheat? Like, are you guys tabulating the votes as soon as they come in? And she said no. She said they lock it away in a lockbox and it is guarded by police officers at night, and they do not tabulate these votes until election day and the final vote is casted at the polls. Understand that a lot of us think a lot of these things can be stolen, right? We're living in a day and age where, do we really trust the technology? Do we trust each other? No. Americans have become very wary of trusting each other, trusting people who work at the polls, and people camping out and wanting to man the polls. And I want to assure you that based on what she told me, it sounds like the process is pretty secure. Now, you don't put it past morons out there that, make mistakes and maybe don't check the IDs or something. But she said even the IDs are checked. And when I was growing up, I remember my mom and dad going to, the elementary school and voting, and you were forced to show your ID. So this is not something new. This is still happening. You are forced to show ID. Here's the thing. Can people lie and say they're a citizen? Probably, yeah. But it will catch up to them in the end. It's not something that will go without punishment, is what I'm trying to say. If you did vote and you're not a U.S. citizen, you will be caught, you will be found out, is what I'm trying to say here, because they do check your ID. So anyway, I asked her about this. She said she thinks it's a good process. She thinks that it's fair. And, she doesn't vote like me, but she's my friend and I trust her. So I hardly doubt. And this is why I keep telling people, you've got to go out, you've got to talk to people in your community, you've got to create a community where it's built around trust and it's reciprocated in how you treat each other. Anyways, have a great day and remember to think for yourself.